If you are a green card holder, a lawful permanent resident, or someone waiting for immigration approval, you may have seen alarming headlines this week saying that green card holders must report by March 15th or face removal from the United States. Those words are enough to make anyone panic. You might be wondering right now, is this real? Do I need to do something immediately? Am I in danger of losing everything I have worked so hard for? Take a breath with me for a moment. The internet has a way of turning routine immigration updates into terrifying breaking news. And when it comes to something as important as your status in this country, fear spreads fast. But fear and facts are not the same thing. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this March 15th deadline really means, who it actually applies to, and most importantly, who it does not apply to at all. By the end of this, you will know with complete clarity whether this situation affects you personally or whether it is simply another exaggerated headline causing unnecessary stress. There is a lot of confusion right now, and I know many of you are anxious, worried, and even losing sleep over this. You deserve calm, honest, straightforward information, not rumors and speculation. So stay with me because what you hear in the next few minutes could save you from a great deal of unnecessary fear and possibly from making a serious mistake based on misinformation. Let's get straight to the most important question. What is this March 15th deadline actually about? The short answer is this. For the vast majority of green card holders, there is no new rule, no new law, and no sudden requirement to report anywhere. Nothing has changed overnight. What is happening right now is that certain immigration agencies have been reminding people about rules that have existed for many years. These reminders sometimes get picked up by news outlets and social media accounts, and when they are shared without full context, they quickly turn into scary, misleading headlines. That is exactly what has happened here. What? There is no mass process beginning on March 15th to remove green card holders from the United States. There is no nationwide order telling lawful permanent residents to show up at an office or submit new paperwork. What exists instead are long-standing immigration rules about maintaining permanent residence. The March 15th date that people are talking about is connected to specific individual notices sent to a small number of people whose travel history has raised concerns. A personalized notice sent to a specific individual is not the same thing as a rule that applies to everyone. That distinction is everything. Now, let me make this part extremely clear because this is where most of the confusion is coming from. If you are a green card holder who is living in the United States, working here, paying taxes, raising your family, and going about your normal daily life, and you have not received any official letter, email, or notice from USCIS or Customs and Border Protection, then this March 15th headline does not apply to you at all. You do not need to report anywhere. You do not need to call USCIS. You do not need to schedule an appointment or submit extra forms. You can continue living your life exactly as you have been. Simply traveling outside the United States for vacations or family visits does not suddenly put you in danger. Taking a trip to see relatives for a few weeks or even a couple of months is completely normal and fully allowed. The only people who need to pay close attention are those who have actually received an official government communication telling them to respond by a specific date. Without that official notice, there is nothing for you to do and nothing for you to worry about. No letter means no problem. So who does this situation actually apply to? It applies to a very small group of green card holders whose travel patterns have raised questions about whether they are truly living in the United States as permanent residents. A green card is not just a travel document. It represents permanent residence in America, meaning the United States must be your primary home. When someone spends long stretches of time outside the country, especially more than 6 months at a time, immigration authorities are allowed to ask whether that person still intends to live here permanently. For example, if a green card holder moves back to their home country, builds a life there, works there full-time, and only returns to the United States once or twice a year for short visits, that can create serious concerns. Or if someone leaves for a year or more without obtaining a re-entry permit, that can also trigger questions. In those specific situations, immigration agencies may send a formal notice asking the person to explain their absences and prove they have not abandoned their permanent residence. Those notices include a deadline to respond, and that is where dates like March 15th come from. But these are individual case deadlines, not a universal rule for everyone. Let's also clear up some of the biggest myths spreading online right now. Myth 1. Every green card holder must register with the government by March 15th or risk deportation. That is completely false. Myth 2. If you traveled outside the United States recently, you are in danger of losing your green card. Also false. Normal, reasonable travel has always been allowed. Myth 3. Immigration authorities are randomly selecting green card holders for removal. Not true. Immigration actions are based on specific individual circumstances. And finally, the idea that you need to immediately hire someone to protect yourself from this supposed deadline is misleading. If you have not received any official notice, there is nothing to respond to. Many scammers take advantage of fear by offering unnecessary services, so please be careful. So what should you do to stay safe and protected going forward? First, always make sure your green card is valid and not expired. If it is close to expiring, apply for renewal as early as possible. Second, if you plan to be outside the United States for more than 6 months, consider applying for a re-entry permit before you leave. This document shows immigration authorities that you intend to keep the U.S. as your permanent home, even during extended time abroad. Third, keep records that prove your life is based in America, things like tax returns, lease agreements, pay stubs, utility bills, and school records for your children. Most people never need to show these documents, but having them organized can make a huge difference if questions ever arise. And fourth, if you ever do receive an official notice from any immigration agency, never ignore it. Read it carefully, respond on time, and if you are unsure what it means, speak with a qualified immigration attorney. I also want to speak directly to those of you who have been feeling nervous and afraid because of everything you have seen online. Immigration is not just paperwork and policies. It is your life, your family, your future, and your sense of security. When you hear words like removal or deadline, it can shake you to your core. That reaction is completely human. Many of you came to this country with dreams, worked hard, followed the rules, paid your taxes, and built a real life here. The idea that all of that could suddenly be at risk because of a headline is enough to make anyone anxious. But here is what I need you to remember. Fear spreads much faster than facts. Every time there is a confusing immigration update, social media fills with worst-case scenarios, and those stories travel much further than the truth. You are not alone in feeling this way. Millions of immigrants share the same worries, and the vast majority of them are doing absolutely nothing wrong. So let's bring everything together simply and clearly. The March 15th deadline is not a universal requirement for green card holders. There is no mass reporting rule, no new law, no sudden order that applies to everyone. The only people who need to take action are those who have received an official, personalized notice from immigration authorities. If you have not received such a notice, there is nothing for you to do. Normal travel does not put your status at risk. Everyday life in the United States does not put your status at risk. Problems only arise when someone spends extremely long periods outside the country without proper documentation or real ties to America. Even in those situations, the process begins with a notice and a genuine opportunity to explain. Keep your green card valid, plan long trips carefully. Maintain proof that you live in the United States. Respond promptly to any official communication. Those simple steps protect you far better than any amount of internet panic ever could. Immigration headlines will come and go, policies will shift, rumors will circulate, but your peace of mind should not depend on every breaking news alert. What matters most are facts, not fear. You have come too far and worked too hard to live in fear. Stay informed, stay prepared, and keep building your life with confidence.